Right, so the last thing I want to test for Soda Dungeon 2 is item find, right? I just want to stack the max amount of item find and then see how many mythics we get, right? So we'll go into the science of that after. Firstly, we have to figure out what is the best setup for getting the most item find, right? Hey everyone, I'm Clue. Welcome back to Soda Dungeon 2. We're going to test item find. So, uranium bars give 7% boost to all stats, whereas jade gives +3 item find. So how much item find do we need in base for uranium to be better than jade plating? Well, 7% works out to 3 item find per 43, right? So if we have 43 item find on someone, then using uranium is better than using jade. Okay, so in most cases, uranium is going to be better because 43 is not hard at all to hit in terms of base items. The question is, what is the correct ratio, right? When do we prioritize an item over something else, right? So for instance, the math, if we just hire anyone, that'll do, right? If we take a look at something like wireless fidelity, okay, has 43 item find versus a radioactive rod, which gives a 21% boost to all stats. Okay, so 21% of what is equal to 43? Well, 614, right? So we need to have 614 item find for the radioactive rod to be better than the wireless fidelity. Okay, but wireless fidelity plated in uranium is already better than plated in jade because it already has 43, right? So it's already giving +3. So it means it's then also improves anything else we use with item find. So the equivalent can be said for instance, the treasure hunter chest. We need to use a treasure hunter chest, which gives 28 item find, or a radioactive shield, which gives the boost, plus then a treasure gem. So treasure gem gives 20 item find. So 20 item find plus the already 21% boost is probably going to work out better than treasure chest once we start equipping other things as well. Right, because we only have to make up the extra 8 item find rather than 43 like the wireless fidelity. And in order to then get 8 item find, well, it's going to cost us a lot less. So as long as we get up to 38 item find, we're getting more item find off of the shield than using the treasure chest, which gives a base 28. Now, I was also wrong with the wireless fidelity. I used 0.07 rather than 0.21, which is the actual boost rather than the plating, right? Although it's inclusive of the plating too. But yeah, don't use radioactive rods. Use the shield, but use whatever item find. Even the treasure shovel should be better than using the radioactive rod, right? Where is it? It gives 28 item find. Yeah, easily. But I think the best things to use is the Shiver Baron Staff, Wireless Fidelity, and of course the Soda Stein, since that gives the most in terms of armor. The best thing to use is going to be the Extinction Plates, right? Yeah, which gives item find and battle credits, which is also nice, right? So let me equip everything and we'll see how high we can get item find. Now, I believe this is max item find. I might be missing a setup, but 1242, right? If we change that back to a Shiver Baron, 1213 plus then the item find gem is only 37. Yeah, so 1242. Pretty sure, right? I have worked out the maximum. So we're using Shiver Baron on everyone plus the Treasure Hunter's gem and uranium plating, uranium shields rather than the Treasure Hunter shield, right? Because then we can socket it with the Treasure Hunter gem, and extinction plates because they have inbuilt item find as well, instead of the radioactive suits, which would be 21% versus 7%. Right, because 38 is got to be better, right? Their individual item find is only, who can spot it first, me or you? 191, and we needed 204 for the 21% to be better. Yeah, cool. Trinket-wise, just the silver necklaces, though we do have to make a slight concession, because clear speed is also important, right? We want to still be able to clear fast. So, there we go. So the janitor is clearing, preventing janitors. We'll still get ambushes, so we still need to heal, but we should be fine, hopefully. Delirium was also worrisome. We also don't want to take the wizard because we don't want warping, because that skipped floors. Essentially, we just want the most amount of floors, Essentially, we just want the most amount of floors and the most amount of chests, hence why we're still taking a thief. You could run more blade masters instead, right? Just give everyone 2 Shiver Baron staves. That should beat out the radioactive shield, right? Because the Shiver Baron has 33 inbuilt, plus an extra 20, and then 7%. So it's 53 plus 7% versus a shield, which just has 21% plus 20. Yeah, the 33 should be better. Is it? What is your item find? 205 versus 211. Yeah, slightly better. And then yours is 217 because of the Soda Stein giving the extra little boost plus the item find. Yeah, okay. Question is, right, how good is this? Because that's the always the debate is item find versus just, you know, going for everything else, going for withering, going for any other stats, going for battle credits, and you know, the idea is that excess item find over the recommended amount, right, doesn't actually amount to much. So, as stated by the wiki, right, every 10 points of item find reduces the denominator of an item's drop rate by 1, right? So, for instance, right now we're reducing the denominator by, I would hope it rounds up, but you never know, but we'll say 122, right? That is what we are reducing the denominator by. Now, ideally, the idea is to stack 200 item find, that's it, right? To get mythics, because then that reduces the denominator of rares and legendaries, I believe, to 0 or to pretty low, right? And then you can't get them. I'm pretty sure it deletes rares, because essentially once you get an item to a certain point, it obviously can't drop. But the thing to remember, right, and this is my argument for it, is the way the loot table works is it rolls through each item. So for instance, there's a giant list of items, right? Considering the item compendium, just think it works backwards, essentially. So it's going to roll off of every mythic that you have access to. If it doesn't get it, it moves on to the next item, next item, next item, and continues to work its way down the list until you finally succeed in a roll, right? So that is generally why you start excluding items, especially the common and uncommon resources, and some of the rares and some of the legendaries, right? Because you're just getting so many rolls against everything else that they're what you're going to find. Now, the way to think about it is, yes, it is minute, because a mythic drop is very tiny. It's like 1 over 25,000 or something. Let me actually look them up so we can go through this properly. Oh, alrighty, my bad. Slight confusion. So enemies have a base chance to drop an item before you even roll the table, and that's where item find is 10 points per denominator. But for drops, it is still 1, right? So in fact, we're decreasing denominators by the full 1,229, according to the big explanation post about it. So okay, if your item find is 200 and the game has decided to randomly roll for a legendary with a chance 1 out of 1,000, it becomes 1 out of 800. I might be wrong about the list, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere too. But essentially, because the item pool consists of so many mythics, even once you have all the trinkets, you're still rolling through the armors, you're still rolling through the weapons, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can't get these two. Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 weapons you can still get. There's 4 armors you can still get. So there's still 8 mythics for you to roll against. So essentially, right, you're decreasing the denominator of 8 items by 1,229. But then it gets crazier too, because you can find each armor in their different levels. If I can scroll through enough. How many do I have? I guess I don't have any non-leveled up ones. Never mind, right? You can find them in level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 10 variants of each item. So that's already 80 items now for you to roll against, all being decreased by 1,229. Okay, so even if it is minute, even if it is less than 1%, which it is, it's still going to add up, and therefore it should decrease the time it takes. Now, you then factor in all of the accessories and all of the uniques that you're farming, and definitely once you've found a certain amount, then it starts to drop off. But when you're just starting the grind, you should, in my personal opinion, go for the maximum amount of item find you can. That is also still ease of you, which still has a level of ease for you to clear the rooms. Because the other big thing is to start at the appropriate floors. For instance, the Gravedigger Shovel, I believe, drops at 15,000, right? So this is where you most likely want to start for farming mythics. So this is most likely where you want to start for farming mythics, right? You want to start at 15,000 in the primal lands to try and have the maximum rolls against all the mythics, okay? I can't remember if the item compendium tells you. Does it? I don't think it does, no. But yeah, as you can see, you've got all the different levels, right? Each of these have their own separate roles, okay? So again, there's 10 variations of each weapon, 10 variations of each armor, plus all the accessories. There are a lot of mythics for you to roll against. And again, the decrease, however slight, right, does add up, okay? And should still, theoretically, shave off time, okay? Because it is a long grind. So I do think there is an argument for stacking item find. Yes, most likely it should be secondary to the other stats, right? You should go for your Withering Cap. You should go for whatever you need to be able to clear easily and then stack Item Find. But I do think the whole just get 200 Item Find isn't completely accurate, right? Let me look up the exact drop rates so we can see what the percent is. Right, the best I could find was a Reddit post. There used to be a big spreadsheet someone had done on Google Docs, but I can't seem to find it. So 1 in 40k for armor, 1 in 75k for weapons. Well, it says non-armor, but that's weapons. And then 1 in 100k for accessories, right? So again, I'm gonna sit down, I'll do the math, right? There are, I need to write this down though, how many variants, because the Gravedigger Shovel, you only find 1 of, even though if there are 10 to roll against, once you find 1, all 10 are removed, if that makes sense. Same with the pick. Sword in Space Time doesn't count because you craft it. Then shields, I'm pretty sure there's only 1, right? The Crystal God, yeah. And then, oh, I guess that's 175 too. Then there's 4 different sets of armor, 5 different sets of armor. Accessories are the big one, though once you find 1, they're all gone. And gems, there are gems now too. Are they not? That's not gems. There we go. Right, and the gems you can find more of. There are some that are 1, like the planar. Any other unique? Crackshot, no. The restless gem, yes. Right, so we'll let things play out, but I will do the math, and we can definitively say it adds X percent. Right? Sound good? Sound good. Right, so here's what I got so far. Okay, so item find for weapons and shields is 1 in 75,000. Armor is 1 in 40,000. Accessories is 1 in 100,000. Now gems, I'm not too sure. I know they're more common, right? But we've put them at 1 in 40,000 because I can't find anywhere online. I feel like they're like 20 or 25,000, but we'll say 1 in 40,000. Okay, so at 200 item find, right? You go from 0.00, right? 0.00133% to 0.00134. Okay, so the 200 item find increases their specific drop rate, right, by 0.401, right? So that's very minute. The big thing about 200 item find is that it eliminates a lot of items from the pool. So that's what actually ends up increasing the drop rate by a substantial amount. Now, what we want to sort of check and figure out is what if we go from 200 item find to the current, what was it? 1229, right? Still have no mythics, but yeah, 1229 item find. What does that do? Wow, we go from that item find to now 0.00136. Yeah, so that's not really substantial, is it? So interestingly, I don't feel like that's, I feel like I don't have the right decimal places for this to be accurate. Yeah, I don't. Oops, I'm 1 shy. Yeah, the difference is actually far greater. Give me 1 sec. Right, that's better. Let's try again. Okay. So with 200 item find, we go from 0.001333. So, what is that? 1,000th? 1/10th? 100th? 1,000th, which is a really hard thing to say. 1,333, if I'm saying that right, to 1,337. Okay, so minute. But again, the big thing about 200 item find is it excludes a lot of things from the item pool, and that's where you get the big boost to the drop rate. Now, 200 to 1,229 item find, right? The bonus drop rate, or percent, I should say, is an extra. Let me figure out the decimals again. This time, 10,000. It's an extra 200,000th of a place, right? So again, absolutely astronomically minute. Okay, but what you then have to factor in is again the size of the item pool, right? So if we actually look at that difference, that increase, so for weapons specifically, it is again 100th, 800, and no, am I saying that right? Yeah, 100th, 186th. I don't know how to speak in inverse, but it's sizable. Overall, if you include the entire item pool, right? So every single weapon, every single piece of armor, each of their level variants, what you end up getting is a increase to the drop rate of 0.005, right? Which to me is substantial. From 200 to, again, 1,229, 0.005, right? So, you know, that is is a decent percent at that point. It is what? 1/10, 1/100th. It is 0.005% increase, right? But you gotta remember, when farming all these items, it is going to take you hours. Okay, so how much time does that shave off? Again, it's going to be minute, but something is better than nothing, right? Especially if you're going to divide and conquer, if you want to farm up the mythic so that you can then farm up battle credits in the most correct manner. If you want to then farm ore in the most correct manner, you need the mythic armor, you need mythic accessories, you need all this to do everything else efficiently. So why would you not do item find as efficient as you possibly can be? Now, I am, right, double standard because I'm using the Shiver Baron staff, but what I'm trying to get at is any increase is still an increase, right? It's still going to reduce the amount of time it takes. Yes, it's going to be minute, but, you know, when we're talking hours, especially because you can't use battle credits anymore, is still going to help. At least that's my positive mentality, right? But I can understand now looking at the but I can definitely understand now, looking at the numbers, how minute it actually is, right? Because it's tangible to me now. But to begin with, 200 is minute. The big thing with item find, again, is the reduction of all the other items in the item pool. That is the greatest boost to finding mythics. Still, we're gonna let this run, right? Probably overnight, whatever hours, whatever mythics we get, we'll take off, we'll run 200 item find, and we'll compare the two. Again, it is something you need to test extensively to really compare the two, but we're going to do it anyway, because why not? Hope you enjoyed. More item find in the next one. See ya.